Hey guys, and welcome back on the Mindspaces channel. I'm so glad that you have decided to tune in today because I am going to be sharing with you the 5 biggest lessons that I have learned for my personal growth during my 6 years of med school. So without further ado, let's get right into the video. The first big lesson that I have learned, and I think this one was the most important one, was to keep going even after failure. So maybe it's possible to go through med school and to ace every exam and to not fail. And that's a really admirable thing, and I know there are some people who are able to do that, and I deeply admire them, but I was not one of them. I failed, and let me tell you, I failed a lot of exams, and keep going was the most challenging but also the most important lesson that I have learned in med school. It has really taught me to get back on my feet and to continue working towards my dreams even after feeling demotivated, sad, desperate, stressed out like hell. So it really taught me to build myself up again, and I guess that this is a really important lesson for any life, because sometimes things go well, but sometimes they don't. And when they don't, it's really important to know how to get back up and how to build yourself back up, how to build up your self-confidence again, and how to just keep going and keep trying until you're successful. So that is definitely the first and the most important lesson that I have learned in med school. The second one is to deal with stress and pressure. So stress and pressure are common for exam periods, no matter what you study. I believe that finding a way to deal in a healthy way with stress and pressure is really important. What has helped me a lot was when I got my dog, Pablo, to take walks every day. Because before having a dog, I was basically staying at home, and studying, taking a walk or exercising is really important for focus and for productivity. I have started with meditation, and maybe you have seen my video about meditation already. If you haven't, then right after this video you should definitely go and check it out, because I have learned to meditate only a year after I started, because I started it and I did many things wrong. I thought that I would not be able to meditate, and also that meditation is not helping me. But once I learned correctly how to meditate, it really helped me a lot. It helps to decrease stress and feelings of anxiety. It helps to get grounded and also to take really good break from studying. So I was studying for a while, and then I would take a break and meditate for a few minutes and then get back to study, and that would really help me a lot to relax, unwind, and also get back to study. So I can only recommend to you to try meditation out and really give it a try. Try it long enough, because you really have to learn it before you are good at it. So try it for long enough, and you will see that it will have a really great effect on your mental health, on your mental well-being, and on your well-being in general. Remind yourself of how the situation actually is, because I remember that sometimes before exams I would think, if I fail this exam, my world is going to be over. And that's just not true. I mean, if I go in an exam and I fail, it's gonna suck, no question. That's a fact, but my world is not gonna be over. I am not going to literally die or decompose into nanoparticles. I know it sounds stupid, but sometimes I've really felt that if I wouldn't pass this exam, it would be the end of me. And this existential fear is objectively not true. Taking a moment and realizing, like, it's an important exam, but it is just an exam. Stress can be good for exam preparation. It can be motivating, it can be pushing, but if the stress gets too intense, comes a moment where the stress then backfires and paralyzes you and is also really bad for your mental health. So that's the moment where you have to realize and do something and act and actively decide against it. So I actually took the decision for myself, like, I am not going to do this to myself anymore. I promised to myself that for my good and for my productivity and for the sake of my mental well-being, I vow to stop putting as much pressure on myself. I vow to stop stressing myself out more than necessary, because it is just an exam. And if I succeed, I'm going to be super, super happy. And if I fail, I'm going to try again until I succeed. The third lesson I learned was efficiency. I have often thought that multitasking is a good idea, and also studying for many hours without taking a break is a good idea. And now I know that this is not the best way for me to study and work. For me, multitasking was a distraction. My study time is ideally 50 minutes, so I would break it down into 50-minute sessions and take a short break between all the 50 minutes, and then after a few circles like this, take a longer break to eat and relax. I was really often just highlighting the text in the book, and after a while I would not even read the text and highlight some random words. Then afterwards I would read it back and I would think to myself, why did you highlight this sentence? It doesn't make any sense. So I was just reading and instantly forgetting what I read. I started practicing active recall, and how I did that, I started reading a topic and then I would invent questions that the examiner might ask me. By the end of my studying, I would have a list of questions with answers that I could then practice. Not only was this active recall forcing me to focus while I was studying, but also it was way more fun to repeat the topics if you are like doing it in a more interactive way. And the third benefit was that I memorized way better and way more information. The fourth lesson that I have learned in med school was to set priorities. I was doing a lot of things at the same time. I was in a student council, studying, going out with friends, having my boyfriend, having a dog, and all of these things. And I loved it. It was really great, but I really needed to set the right priorities at the right time. One thing I have started doing was to write down 3 non-negotiable tasks for a day. So the 3 non-negotiables were the things I absolutely needed to get done. Choosing 3 tasks forces you to set the right priorities and also to not have too many tasks that are same leveled in your to-do list. Here comes the hard pill to swallow. Do the least fun thing first. If you start with the hardest thing first, you're gonna be done with it ideally before noon, and that's just gonna be such a great feeling, because then you have the rest of the day to do the things that are a little bit less hard, that need less energy. It's just gonna be much easier, and also you're gonna feel a lot of relief once you have done the hardest task of the day. The 5th lesson that I have learned in med school is that med school was just the best time of my life. Oh God, I realized that I keep saying was, and I'm still in my last year of med school. So I'm still having the best time of my life, but I start feeling a little bit nostalgic because it's almost over and it went by so fast. I can remember like yesterday, the day I arrived here in Pécs and started studying in Hungary, and everything was just so new and exciting, and I had just so many things to learn. I just found the best friends here that you could possibly imagine, and I would say that our bond goes beyond friendship. It's more a Pécs family that I have here. Like, we did everything together, you know, like when you study far away from home, you don't get to go home for the weekends or for Easter or some celebrations. Then you start celebrating this with your friends here and spending so much time with the exciting people that you meet here. And so I remember in our first years, I had a friendship group, and every Sunday we would gather in front of the TV and eat some chili con carne or some risotto that we made and watch the same German TV show. It's called Tatort, and it's about like kind of murder criminal series, and it was just like I felt like at home and like having a family, and this little Sunday tradition was just so much fun and so cool. And geez, and all the parties, all the good time, all the crazy times, also the happy times, the sad times, we really did it all together, and it just brought us together so much. So yeah, I really had amazing years in med school, and just growing up was fun, and finding out what I'm passionate about was fun, studying was fun, partying was fun, and yeah, it was just amazing, really. So don't forget to enjoy the years while it lasts, because then when you're gonna start working, perhaps you will have a totally different life, which is probably also gonna be awesome, but different. Last lesson for today that I'm going to share with you is not the least. Knowing what you want is making it so much easier to fight for it. If you have a really clear image of why you want to do this, who you would want to be, figuring that out for yourself and knowing where you're heading and why and what drives you to do that is just such a big help for getting back up when you fail, because you have something that is worth fighting for, and that is just the biggest motivation ever. For a long time, I didn't know what I want to do, and I felt like fighting for someone else's dream, and that was hard and sad and really tiring and demotivating. Having a clear goal in mind and having an idea of why and what you're fighting for is just such a powerful motivation tool when it comes to intrinsic motivation. I hope that you enjoyed this video. Let me know in the comments what you have learned during your studies, or if you are not studying yet, or if you are not studying at all, then what was your biggest life lesson so far? I would really love to know about it, and I would love to chat about it in the comments.